I wanted to talk about getting left out and validation, right? These very murky, mysterious, mystic terms that none of us actually know what they mean. But it's very important, guys, because I got sucked into some YouTube drama recently revolving around a YouTuber by the name of Hamza and Sam. And you can go back and watch their videos, guys, but one possible interpretation, and this very well may not be the truth, but one possible interpretation is that Hamza has himself in a high regard. He ended up having a friendship with this guy named Sam, and Sam ended up slowly but surely going elsewhere and exiting the friendship over time. He didn't need Hamza that much anymore. He didn't maybe look up to him in certain ways. And just ultimately, for whatever reason, for a myriad of reasons, the chemistry wasn't there. And he instead opted to maybe be more of friends with another guy by the name of Jack. And Hamza didn't like this because if you've ever been friends with someone and they kind of exit the friendship and they slowly stop talking to you, and all the while they're maybe hanging out more with another person and really getting buddy buddy with that other person, it definitely hurts your feelings. Why does this happen? I believe it's because, as a basic human need, we value being included in a tribe, in a group, and valuing friendships and relationships because it means safety, it means support, right? Back in the caveman days, we would rely on each other for food, for warmth, for teamwork in order to get resources, right? And so when you have someone you feel close to, like you feel very secure in the relationship, especially because in Hamza's situation, he felt probably very secure in the fact that, yeah, I'm this Chad guy and I'm actually employing this other guy. So of course this relationship is going to be very strong and secure and he's not going anywhere. Well, Sam had different intentions. Sam had his own goals, right? And maybe Hamza just wasn't the best friend that Sam needed at the time. And like I said, for whatever reason, and we'll get into exactly why you shouldn't overanalyze the exact cause of a separation in a relationship. But eventually, Sam went his own way, and that triggered the natural human emotion of insecurity. Because without it, we're less secure, we're less safe. We don't have that support system. And so this hits all of us at one point or another. It's hit me in my life. I'm sure it hits a lot of other people. And so when you see people acting very emotionally, feeling left out, that's a very strong, stressful emotion. Okay. It sucks. It feels like you're getting broken up with. You remember how your girlfriend broke up with you in sixth grade and you were literally in bed for months and months and months afterward, depressed? Well, that's nothing to shrug lightly at. If you're a sensitive person and you feel these things, like I am, like probably a lot of other people are, I mean, this stuff is real and it's very annoying. And it takes a lot of meditation, a lot of self-control to be and self-awareness, really a high level of self-awareness and skills to actually be able to manage it effectively. So let's get into some things here, guys. So when you feel left out and you feel excluded, there's a couple different stories and frames you can tell yourself, right? A healthier way would be to say, this hurts because I cared about them and I missed the connection, right? I cared about that person and darn, I missed that. Versus this hurts because it means I'm not as likable or interesting as the other person, right? So if someone else is getting their friendship now you're really trying to analyze, well, okay, fine. I feel really bad about this, but why? Maybe because I'm not funny and they seem to be cracking a lot of jokes with that other person, or maybe it's because I don't have as much money or resources because that other person has a cool pool in their backyard and a cool house and stuff like that. So maybe I have to be more successful and make more money, or maybe I have to be funnier and be more likable, right? And so the competitive nature in all of us to vie for resources and survival kind of takes over, and our problem solving mindset takes over. We say, well, there must be some problem. It must be fixable so that I can escape this pain, right? So we enter this mode of trying to solve, trying to find the cause, right? Trying to ease the pain. There is a problem here. I feel pain. This is not good. As a rational, competitive human, I'm going to try to solve this problem, find the exact pinpoint. And maybe if maybe I'm not funny enough, right? Now I'm going to go and try to be funnier. I'm going to try to compete with that other guy and be funnier than them, right? And I'm going to try to compete and win back. right? Because I deem myself a competitive person, and I've fallen into this trap before. And now all of a sudden you're in this competitive mindset, this antagonistic mindset, antagonistic frame. But really, guys, ultimately, what happened there was out of your control. Okay. It could have been a million different things. It's out of your control. It's already done. What's done is done. And so all you can do is accept. Okay. First, you must accept that it's out of your control and then reaffirm your self worth. Even though, maybe this person truly is stepping away from this relationship. And I can actually sense that. We humans have a very strong sense of intuition and we're able to sense things very well. And you very well may be correct. When you're feeling insecure, when you're feeling left out, your body is quite literally possibly sensing the actual objective fact that, yes, there is something like that going on where people maybe, don't feel a need to include you at that given moment, right? But in that moment, guys, you have to accept, notice any comparative stories, okay? So, like, I'm not as good looking, I'm not as funny, anything like that, right? In that moment, accept it. You know what? I am who I am. They're over there, I'm over here. It is what it is, right? So you're accepting it, you're taking a step back, you're calming yourself, looking at it objectively, and then self affirm, self validate. We hear a lot about validation from within, self validation, right? That just simply means you're able to tell yourself that you're enough. You don't need someone else to compliment your looks for you to believe that you're good looking. You already know you're good. You tell yourself you're good looking enough, right? Or you tell yourself you're cool enough or funny enough. Just whatever. You're valuable just because you're you. Okay. And the other thing is, guys, if you're able to, like, remind yourself of that time when, everyone was laughing or you were having a great time with everyone and people respect you and you really are, a good person and you really are valuable just intrinsically when you're able to provide yourself a little bit of evidence, right? The brain loves proof, not promises. Like, remember that time when you guys were having a good time, right? Just that fact will make you feel a little better when you do remember, like, oh, yeah, I have, had good moments as well, right? When you're just able to provide a little bit of evidence, self reaffirm, self validate, remind yourself you are valuable and that's good enough and that makes you feel better. You don't need someone else to tell you that. That's very important. Okay. And so the reason this all comes up is because there's safety and security in being included as part of the tribe. Because back millions of years through our evolution, it was, a natural human urge to want to be around everyone else because that meant you get resources. So, but if you are able to be on your own, believe in yourself just independently by yourself, self validate, self reaffirm, like, look, I know who I am. I know my value, right? Believe in yourself. Okay. The other thing, guys, so what to do afterward? We talked about acceptance. So, it is what it is. I'm seeing things very kind of calmly and stoically. I'm not getting too flustered about it. I accept that, okay, yeah, this is what happened. And then what you can try is to reconnect, but without a chasing or emotional energy, right? So you can extend your hand back out like, hey, man, like, I notice we don't talk as much. Like, I really value our friendship and I'd love to catch up sometime. Like, do you have a couple minutes? Just let's chat. Like, it's been a little bit, I feel like, we haven't been able to talk a lot tonight. I really consider you a close friend and I'm missing that a little bit right now. And they're like, oh, you know what? If they value you as a friend, then they will accept your invitation, especially because you came with such a genuine, stoic return, and they will accept it. If they truly are just a jerk and they don't value your friendship anymore, they'll maybe just blow it off or call you weak or they'll expose who they really are. And honestly, that's good because you don't want to be in a relationship with that person anyways. And then the third step, guys, is to refocus or move on. So, you've accepted the fact, you've maybe offered to reconnect, you've tried to reintegrate, right? You're being excluded maybe, but you try to go back in and just be a normal person adding value to the group and trying to reintegrate a little bit. Maybe it works and great, maybe it doesn't work. In that case, guys, refocus on something that is more worth your time. Relationships where it is reciprocated or things that you're passionate about, right? And so, guys, that's pretty much it. That's my take on the Hamza situation and a very, very, very important lesson on validation, loving yourself, believing in yourself, valuing yourself, and maybe what could have happened there in that situation. So, guys, this stuff has happened to me. It sucked. And just knowing this stuff will really help you navigate hard parts of your life because I wish I knew it sooner as well. So, that being said, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.